Hello and welcome to Unit 16 of Interchange Book 2, and this video is about reported speech for requests. Okay, so let's get started.
Dermot is on the phone to Clyde. Clyde is hosting a party tonight and he's stressed.
Clyde, don't stress out about the party tonight.
This is the most important event of the year. Don't tell me not to stress out.
It'll be fine. You're going to impress everyone. Can I help with anything?
Could you buy a piñata?
A piñata? How old are you?
Shut up. It'll be fun. Get one shaped like an elephant.
Okay. Anything else?
Could you hire a magician?
I have no idea how to hire a magician.
Call Brett. His brother is a magician.
Okay, Clyde. See ya. Tom, I just spoke to Clyde. He's so stressed about tonight.
Typical Clyde. Why is he stressed?
I don't know, but he asked me to buy him a piñata.
A piñata? How old is he?
I said that too. He told me to get one shaped like an elephant.
I don't know what's going through his head. What next? A clown?
Actually, he asked me to hire a magician.
Why does he think you know how to do that?
I don't know. He said to call Brett.
Oh yeah, his brother is a magician. I'm not sure if he's out of prison yet though.
So in our dialogue, Clyde was giving requests to Dermot, and then Dermot, in a separate conversation, reported these requests to Tom. So for example, Clyde asked to Dermot, could you buy a piñata? And then Dermot said to Tom, he asked me to buy a piñata. So if we look specifically at this request, it says, could you buy a piñata? And it starts with a modal. Could, or it could also start with a modal like can. And if we can see these modals, we know it's request and that we should use the verb ask when we're reporting it. And because we're always reporting something that happened before, we will always use it in the past tense, okay? So this is how we report the speech. We have our requester, Clyde, asked, and now the person receiving the request. So it's Dermot, but it was Dermot who was talking, so we use me. And then we have an infinitive. He asked me to buy a piñata, okay? And the infinitive is to and the verb in its base form. So Clyde asked me to buy a piñata. And if the request was the opposite, if the request was, could you not buy a piñata? We would put not before the infinitive, okay? So Clyde asked me not to buy a piñata. Any negatives? Put them before the infinitive. So now let's have a look at this one. Clyde says to Dermot, get an elephant shaped one. So Dermot says to Tom, he told me to get an elephant shaped one. So in this example, Clyde didn't say, could you get an elephant shaped one? He just said, get an elephant shaped one. And this request begins with a verb, get an elephant shaped one. So can you remember what we call this structure when a request begins with a verb? It's the imperative structure, okay? And it's more like an instruction or a direction than a request, because it doesn't have this modal beginning. Okay, so get an elephant shaped one, imperative structure, And if we have the imperative structure, we use tell, but because we're reporting something from the past, we use told. Okay? So the full structure, we could say Clyde told me to get an elephant-shaped one. So it's the same structure. We have the requester, but instead of asked, we have told. The person receiving the request, the infinitive, and the rest. Okay? So Clyde told me to get an elephant-shaped one. And another option that we could use is say, but because we're using it in the past tense, we would use said. Okay? And there is one important rule if you want to use this verb. Said doesn't take an object. For example, Clyde said me to get an elephant-shaped one. Okay, so what we don't need here is the person receiving the request, the object. So we eliminate this, okay? What we should say, if we choose said, is Clyde said to get an elephant-shaped one. Okay, so let's do some practice, and in this activity we're going to decide whether to use told, said, or asked. Okay, so the person on the left says, Darren, could you keep it a secret? Okay, so we can't use told because this is a request with a modal, okay? We only use told for imperatives. And this isn't an imperative structure. And we can't use said because we have an object. Darren is the object. So we need to use asked, okay? We always use asked if we have a request with a modal. So let's try another one. We got Darren blank him to give him $100. So what did Darren say? He said, give me $100. So unlike the last one, Darren didn't request with a modal. So we can't use asked. This sentence also has an object, so we can't use said. We need to use told because it's an imperative structure. We have the verb at the beginning. And now the final example. The man on the left says, don't be like that, Darren. And our sentence is he blank not to be like that. So the speech starts with a verb, a negative verb. So it has the structure of an imperative. So for that reason, the correct response can't be asked. And then we have told. So surely it will be told if it's an imperative, right? Well, no, because we don't have an object. Okay, it goes straight to the infinitive. So we need to use said. So the correct response is he said not to be like that. Okay? So that's everything for this video. Please try the activity below. Goodbye.